Welcome to today's video. Welcome to another reading vlog. I'm actually really excited for this reading vlog because we're going to be reading cowboy romances for the entire week. And of course, we're going to start with an Elsie Silver book. And the one that we're going to start with is Heartless, which is the second book in the Chestnut Spring series. I've heard that this book specifically is everybody's favorite from the Chestnut Spring series. I don't really know anything about this book other than it's about a cowboy and it's a single dad trope. So let's start reading Heartless by Elsie Silver. So I'm currently on what page am I on? I could just get the book. It's like on my nightstand over there and I don't want to get up. So I'm just going to look up on my phone. I've been keeping track of my reading progress using the Bookly app. This is not sponsored or anything. I just really like keeping track on there because it helps me keep track of the pages, but I mostly use it for the time. So I always put my timer on because I like keeping track of how long it takes me to read books. But I'm currently on page 182. My plan was to update you at the 100 page mark, but I've been loving reading this book so much that I just kept reading nonstop until I fell asleep. But I am going to give you a little bit of a summary now that I know a little bit more what the book is about. And then I'm going to give you my thoughts so far. And I'm holding my phone because I have my notes on here. So Heartless by Elsie Silver. Our main male character is named Cade Eaton, who is a very grumpy farmer and a single dad. He owns his own ranch and needs help taking care of his 5-year-old son named Luke. And our female main character, her name is Willa, and she is the best friend of the FMC from the first book. And Willa is hired by Cade to be the live-in nanny for his son Luke. Cade is making Willa's life impossible. He's super grumpy. He's like being so difficult. And we just got to the part where we see a new side of Cade because we're used to seeing him be this really grumpy guy. We're starting to see kind of him opening up a little bit. And we also got to the part where he's kind of starting to like her and she is starting to like him. And their banter is already so good. I cannot wait to keep reading because I know it's just going to get that much better. I also really love that Willa is putting Cade in his place because I don't think anybody has ever done that with him. And he's kind of taken back by it, but also starting to like it at the same time. And his family is like, yeah, that's what he needs in his life. Okay, let's get back to reading. Time for an update. I totally finished Heartless by Elsie Silver. I totally went crazy with the tabbing, but I really enjoyed this book. I feel like it was such a perfect small town cowboy romance to start with. I had such a fun time. I was giggling, I was laughing. It was just so good. I really loved Cade. He is such an amazing father to Luke, and Willa was such an amazing influence and an addition to their little family, and they both just loved that little boy so much, and he brought so much personality and so much to the story as well. I haven't read a book with child in it. This was the first one and I absolutely loved it. I also really loved how grumpy Cade was and how we see him grow and change throughout this story with Willa's influence and Willa's help. And I loved that Willa did not back down just because Cade was being grumpy and mean. She didn't let him be his grumpy self. She really called him out on it, and I loved that that too. I also really loved that Luke, the little 5-year-old son, called both of them out when they were in the wrong without really realizing what he was doing or what he was saying. But he was kind of helping them grow as people as well with his little 5-year-old comments. And I also really liked the dad, Harvey. He is hilarious. Every time he would pop up in the story, I would crack up with all of the things that he would say. He's just like very silly and goofy. And I also really like seeing the characters from the first book. I like seeing Summer and Rhett. We also get a glimpse of the characters for the last 2 books in this series. It was kind of like a little teaser into the next 2 books in the series, which I am excited to read. I feel like I'm going to save the rest of the books in this series for later because the next book that I'm going to read is actually going to be Alive and Wells. I decided to go with this book for a couple of reasons. One, it's a lot shorter. I feel like Heartless was really long. It was 410 pages, and this one is only 302 pages, including the epilogues. Yes, it has 2 epilogues. The second reason why I picked it up is because this is Grumpy Farmer meets City Girl, and I'm currently obsessed with the show Farmer Wants a Wife, and this book gives off the same vibe of that show. If you like small town cowboy romances, I really recommend the show Farmer Wants a Wife because it's about these 5 farmers who are looking for love and these girls that come onto their farm and try and win the farmers' hearts. It's like a real life small town cowboy / farmer romance, and I really love that show. And reading cowboy romances and watching that show is like the ultimate mix, and I'm really excited to continue reading cowboy romances. So the plan for today is go to the coffee shop, start this book, and then give you like a little update after I start it. And then after that, I'm gonna go home and then watch Farmer Wants a Wife. I just feel like that is like the ultimate cowboy romance vibes, and I'm so excited. All right, let's go and start this book. Right now, I'm on page 8, and I had to pause for a second to tell you about this book. Okay, so this girl named Cecily is married to a man named KJ, and the book starts off really strong. The first line in the book actually says, I spent the last half of the day listing on the back of my grocery receipt all the ways I could KILL him, which is crazy. So she really does not like her husband, and I'm like, that's a little strong. But then I kept reading, and I was like, oh, I see why you do not like your husband. He's like very violent towards her, but she also says that he never hits her. He's just very mean, says a lot of mean things, and just throws things at her, but never hits her. And that already made me upset at her husband. Then I kept reading, and on page 8, we get a glimpse of the way that he talks to her, and it's infuriating. Calls her a WHORE to her face. He's even accusing her of cheating on him when she's just seeking help, and then calls her a B word. This is crazy. Like, I do not like her husband at all, and we're barely on page 8. I don't want to keep reading about her evil husband, but I do want to continue reading this book, so I'm just gonna keep reading, and hopefully she leaves soon because I don't know how long I can take this. They're in in the middle of having this fight, right? And this fight is becoming violent. He is becoming violent towards her. And then he has the nerve to step out of the room and start crying. Are you kidding me right now? No. Like, he is full on sobbing. I'm over this man. I can't. I think we're gonna pause right here and then continue reading a little bit later. And then I'll give you an update once I get a little bit more into this story. Actually finished Alive and Wells like 5 minutes ago, and this book I was a little worried about when I started it because it starts off really strong. It starts with our female main character named Cecily, and her terrible husband picks a fight with her, and it takes a very violent turn, and that's when she decides to finally leave him. So she leaves that same night and goes to a ranch where she has a friend who's waiting for her and gives her a place to stay and a job, and that's where she meets our male main character named Austin, and he is very specific about his title. He is not a cowboy. He's actually a rancher who employs the cowboys, and he takes his job very seriously, and he's like instantly attracted to her because she's a very beautiful woman, and he's an attractive guy, so she's also attracted to him, but they don't really do anything because she's still trying to get over her trauma from her husband, and she's also technically married, so she doesn't really want to do anything with Austin, doesn't want to get involved because she just left her husband and can't start falling for somebody else, even though her husband is a terrible person. And Austin was heartbroken a few years back, and he's still kind of like not over it, so he's very like guarded, but they do both really like each other. They're attracted to each other, which made this a slow burn romance. So we didn't see them get together or even kiss until 150 pages in, and the book is only like 300 pages, and then they didn't really become kind of like a relationship until 200 pages in. But the ending was kind of crazy. It started off crazy, and then the ending was kind of crazy too. It was super intense. I feel like that was my favorite part of the entire book. That last scene with all the cowboys, that was very country cowboy coded, and it was so great. And now it's time to pick my next book. I'm debating between two books. So I'm debating between Wild Love and Done and Dusted. The size difference in these books is crazy. Done and Dusted is 320 pages and Wild Love is 520 pages. So it's 200 pages more. This one is a billionaire romance, and it also has the same trope as Heartless by Elsie Silver, which is single dad. So because I kind of already read a book with that trope, I think I'm going to go with Done and Dusted instead. Also because this one's a little bit shorter and I feel like I can get through this one a little bit quicker. And this one also has a trope that I have not read, which is best friend little sister / older brother's best friend. So I'm going to go with this one. I've also heard nothing but good things about this book and this series. I don't know too much about it other than what it says on the back, but I do know that the male main character used to tease the female main character when they were younger. So they've known each other for a while, but she left to go to college and build a life, but then she recently moved back to her hometown. So now they're like all grown up, and I'm excited to read their little love story. All right, let's start reading. I'm really liking the inner monologue of the characters so far. I think it's hilarious and it really adds to the character and the stories. I'm really enjoying that so far. I also really like that at the beginning of each chapter, we have like little character art for each character. We have like a little cowboy boot for the female main character, Emmy. And then we have a cowboy hat for the male main character, Luke. It's actually been a few days since I've last given you an update, and my camera's about to die, so I'm going to try and make this quick. I finished 2 books since the last time I updated you. I finished Done and Dusted, and I also finished Wild Love, and these books were so good. Done and Dusted, I actually finished it in one day. I started it in the morning, and then I finished it right before going to bed. And I also actually annotated this one. I tabbed it and I annotated it because it was just so good. And this one also introduced me to a new trope that I haven't read before. It introduced me to the best friend's little sister trope. The banter in this was so good because the characters knew each other since they were younger. They already had that familiarity with each other, that they can joke around with each other and kind of like make fun of each other. But it was so good. It was done so well. I flew through this. And because I finished this one in one day, I was brave enough to pick up Wild Love. This one is almost twice the size of Done and Dusted, and I was hesitant to pick this one up because of its size, but once I started reading it, I could not put it down. And this one is also the best friend's little sister trope. Ford Grant is probably my new favorite. This one I also went crazy with the tabs, and I also annotated it as well. Thought it was going to take me so long to finish, and it took me a couple of days because I could not put this book down. It was so good. Done and Dusted was an actual cowboy romance, but Wild Love was not a cowboy romance. It was a small town romance, which I did not know when I picked it up, but I was not mad about it because it was so good. So let's go over the books that I read for this video. So I was able to read 4 books for this video. I read Heartless by Elsie Silver, Alive and Wells by Bailey Hannah, Done and Dusted by Lila Sage, and Wild Love by Elsie Silver. We're gonna go in order. So the first book that I read was Heartless by Elsie Silver. I feel like this one was a really good one to start with. My final rating for this book is going to be a 4.75. It was really close to being a 5-star, but the last 50 pages of the book, I feel like were not my favorite. I feel like I would have been fine without those last 50 pages because it just felt a little too long. I feel like the book would have been fine without those last 50 pages. I do see like why they are there, but I just feel like it was a little bit too long. The next book that I read was Alive and Wells by Bailey Hannah. My final rating for this one is 4 stars. This one definitely started off really strong. So definitely read the content warnings because they pop up in chapter 1, the very last scene in this book with all the cowboys. Ugh, that was my favorite scene. It just gave me all the cowboy vibe and it was so good. The third book that I read was Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. This one was so good. It introduced me to a new trope that I haven't read, which is best friend's little sister. The banter between the male main character and the female main character, so good. And I think it was so good because they've known each other since they were younger. So they've always had this back and forth since they were young. And once they met up again when they were older, they just picked up right where they left off with all the banter. And it was just so good. I really liked this one. My final rating for this one is also a 4.75. I feel like this one could be a 5-star. I'm really debating whether it's a 5-star, and just me debating whether it's a 5-star, I feel like it's not. It's a 4.75 because if it was a 5-star, I wouldn't have to think about it. I wouldn't be hesitating this much. So I'm going to leave it as 4.75 for now. I'm probably going to reread this one, so we'll see if my rating changes after I reread it. And the last book that I read for this video was Wild Love by Elsie Silver. This is the second Elsie Silver book that I read for this video. This one is technically not a cowboy romance. It's a small town romance, but I didn't know that when I picked it up, so I still read it, and this one was my favorite out of all the books that I read. This one is a 5 out of 5 stars for me. I think Ford Grant is my new favorite character. He's just so amazing, and his banter with Rosie is just 10/10. This one is also best friend's little sister, and they also knew each other when they were younger. The reason that I like this book so much is because of Ford Grant. I really like everything that he does for Rosie, and I love the fact that in the book he owns up to his mistakes. Like, he doesn't know that he's doing anything wrong, but when Rosie calls him out on it, he's like, oh yeah, you know what, like, I messed up, I'm sorry, which is so good. Also, this also has a single dad trope kind of, which is similar to Heartless, and I also seem to like that trope too, like single dad trope and best friend's little sister. Those are my 2 new favorite tropes. But yeah, this is a 5-star read. I love this one, and I think, you know, you can never go wrong with Elsie Silver. I just feel like Elsie Silver is amazing at writing small town cowboy romances, and she did not disappoint. I feel like overall we had a successful reading vlog. I had 1 5-star, which I think is my new favorite book, and our lowest rating was a 4-star, which isn't bad at all, but I think it's safe to say that I really do enjoy cowboy romances. I knew I was gonna like it, but I didn't know that I was gonna like it this much. And I also discovered 2 new favorite tropes. Now I want to keep reading cowboy romances because I know they're gonna have these tropes in them. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you leave a comment down below with your most recent 5-star read so that we can start a little book discussion and book recommendations down in the comments. Alright, so I'm gonna end the video right here. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!